What's the matter? Can't afford another carton? Maybe you should watch where you're going next time.
The crack of it hit first. Not the voice, not the shout, not the sound of grocery bags dropping on warm asphalt on a Tuesday afternoon in Charlotte, North Carolina. Just the crack of an open palm against a woman's cheek, flat and impossibly loud in a parking lot full of people who all stopped at exactly the same moment and forgot how to breathe. The woman's head snapped sideways. Her grocery bags hit the ground. A carton of eggs split open on the concrete, yolks spreading slow and orange in the afternoon sun. 3 men stood in front of her. One of them was still smiling. The little girl holding her mother's wrist made a sound that nobody in that parking lot would forget for the rest of their lives. The woman straightened slowly. She didn't stagger. She didn't reach for her cheek. She didn't cry. She turned and looked at the man who had hit her, and 43 witnesses later said the same thing when asked to describe what they saw on her face. Not rage, not fear, something quieter than both. Something that looked, one woman later told a Charlotte news anchor, like a door being unlocked from the inside. Tyler Brooks had been in that parking lot for 11 minutes. He had pulled his black Escalade into a pedestrian crosswalk, honked at a woman in hospital scrubs carrying birthday cake ingredients, and decided that what happened next would be funny. He had no idea who she was. He had no idea what her father had spent 9 years teaching her hands to do. And in the next 11 seconds, none of that ignorance was going to save him. If you've never heard the name Maya Carter, stay right where you are. Subscribe now, because what this mother did next is the reason millions of people know her name. 6 weeks before that parking lot, Maya Carter's alarm went off at 5:15 in the morning. She didn't hit snooze. She never hit snooze. She swung her feet onto cold tile, moved through the dark to the kitchen, and started packing a lunch for a 7-year-old who only ate strawberry jam if the crust was cut off and would not, under any circumstances, drink anything other than strawberry milk. She had the routine memorized the way soldiers memorize maps, not because they enjoy it, but because getting it wrong has consequences. The apartment was on the 3rd floor of a complex off Beatty's Ford Road. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a crack running diagonal across the kitchen tile she kept meaning to fix, but never had the time or the money to fix at the same moment. A single photograph hung in the hallway in a plain black frame. Sergeant Marcus Carter, United States Marine Corps, dress blues, 1987. Her father, 31 years old in that photograph, smiling like a man who believed the world was essentially fair. Maya had believed that too, once. Marcus Carter started teaching his daughter Muay Thai on a Saturday morning in the summer of 2001, when Maya was 11 years old. A boy in her school had grabbed her arm in a stairwell and laughed when she pulled away. Marcus heard about it that evening at dinner. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't make phone calls. He just looked at his daughter across the table and said, "Tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, you and me." The gym on Beatty's Ford smelled like rubber mats and liniment, and the particular kind of sweat that belongs to people working toward something. Marcus trained beside her every Saturday for 9 years. He never missed one, not when he was deployed and then home on leave, not when his knees started going, not once. "I'm not teaching you to fight," he told her the first morning, wrapping her hands with the quiet precision of a man who had done this thousands of times. "I'm teaching you that you have the right to walk through the world without being touched." Maya never forgot that. Not through 3 different cities and a pregnancy alone and a hospital job that paid $18.40 an hour for 10-hour shifts. Not through the night Marcus died, May 3rd, 2019, a heart attack at 58, while Maya was in a delivery room 30 minutes away, waiting for Keisha to arrive. She got the call at 4:17 in the morning, her daughter 7 minutes old in her arms. She hadn't been back to the gym since the funeral. Not because she forgot what Marcus gave her, because every time she thought about those rubber mats and that smell, she saw his face, and the grief was still too specific to step around. What Tyler Brooks saw in that Riverside Commons parking lot on October 17th was a tired woman in hospital scrubs who looked like someone who wouldn't fight back. He was not the first man to make that mistake. He was just about to become the most famous one. October 17th started the way every Tuesday started. Alarm at 5:15. Keisha's lunch packed by 5:45. Drop-off at Brightwood Elementary by 7:20. Maya at Piedmont Regional Hospital by 7:55. Scrubs already on, badge already clipped. 10 hours ahead of her before she could think about anything else. She finished her shift at 2:45 in the afternoon. One stop on the way home. Riverside Commons Kroger on Rhea Road. Red velvet cake mix, cream cheese frosting, 2 packs of birthday candles, and strawberry milk. Keisha's birthday was Thursday. Maya had been promising her a homemade red velvet cake since August, and she was not going to be the kind of mother who broke a promise about birthday cake. She was in and out of the store in 14 minutes. Tyler Brooks had been at Legends Sports Bar 2 blocks away since noon. Not drunk, that detail matters. Just loose. Just the version of himself he became when there were no cameras and no consequences, and the afternoon had nowhere to go. Chad Warren was beside him, loud the way men get when they think they're among friends. Mason Holt was quieter, the kind of quiet that looks like wisdom until you realize it's just caution. Tyler picked up the tab at 3:30, and the 3 of them walked to the Escalade. Maya was loading her last bag into the Camry trunk when Tyler pulled into the row. He wanted the spot directly behind her. She wasn't moving fast enough. He honked twice, 2 flat, impatient blasts that bounced off the surrounding concrete. Maya didn't look up. She closed the trunk, picked up Keisha's hand, and started walking toward the driver's door. Tyler rolled the window down. "You moving or what, sweetheart?" Maya didn't answer. She kept walking. He pulled the Escalade forward, cut the engine, and got out. Chad and Mason followed. The 3 of them spread across the lane behind her car, the way men do when they've already decided this is going to be a conversation whether the other person wants one or not. "Hey." Tyler's voice was easy, almost warm. That was the thing witnesses kept mentioning afterward, how calm he sounded, like a man who had never once been told no and found the concept genuinely interesting. "I'm talking to you." Maya stopped. She turned around. Keisha's hand was in hers. She looked at Tyler for 3 full seconds. "We're not blocking anything. Have a good afternoon." She turned back toward the car. Tyler stepped forward and planted himself between Maya and the driver's door. He looked down at Keisha with a smile that had nothing kind in it. "Your mommy needs to learn some manners, sweetheart." And somewhere in the back of her mind, in a voice that sounded like rubber mats and liniment and a Saturday morning in 2001, her father said, "You have exhausted every other option. Don't go anywhere." Because what Maya Carter did in the next 11 seconds has been watched over 2 million times. And it starts with Tyler Brooks making a decision he cannot take back. Subscribe right now so you never miss a story like this one. Tyler Brooks raised his hand the way men do when they believe nothing in the world will stop them. Open palm, a slap designed not to injure, but to humiliate. The kind of strike that says you are not worth a closed fist. It landed across Maya Carter's left cheek with a crack that one witness described as sounding like a bat hitting a baseball. Hard, flat, final. The grocery bag slipped from Maya's fingers. The eggs hit the concrete and split. The strawberry milk rolled 3 feet and stopped against a tire. 43 people in that parking lot went completely still. Tyler was already laughing. He said something to Chad. Chad laughed too. Mason took half a step back. Something in the air had shifted in a way he didn't have a name for yet, but his body understood it before his brain did. Maya's hand came up slowly to her cheek. She pressed 2 fingers against the skin, not checking for damage. Something else. Something that looked to the woman in the silver Toyota Sienna 3 spaces away, who had been recording since the moment Tyler got out of the Escalade, like a person making a final decision. She dropped her hand. She looked at Tyler Brooks. And then it was 11 seconds. Later, 3 separate phone videos would be slowed down frame by frame by people across the internet trying to understand what they were watching. Sports commentators would post breakdowns. Muay Thai coaches would use the footage in training discussions. A retired UFC analyst would post a 4-minute video calling it the cleanest parking lot technique he had ever seen in his 30 years in combat sports. Here is what those 11 seconds contained. Tyler moved to hit her again. Same hand, same motion, already grinning. Maya's left hand came up and trapped his wrist mid-swing with a Muay Thai plum clinch, the grip her father had drilled into her 500 times on a Saturday morning until it happened without thought. Tyler's elbow bent at an angle. Elbows are not designed to travel. He made a sound, not a tough sound, not an angry sound, a small, involuntary sound, the sound a person makes when their body informs them that the situation has changed completely. His knees buckled. He went down onto the asphalt on his right side, his arm cradled against his chest, his face arranged in an expression nobody at Legends Sports Bar that afternoon would have recognized. That was seconds 1 and 2. Shad Warren moved from the left. Instinct, not thought. The reflex of a man whose friend is suddenly on the ground. Maya released Tyler, pivoted 45 degrees on her left foot, and her right knee came up and forward with the full rotational force of a woman who had thrown that exact strike 10,000 times in a gym that smelled like rubber and liniment, and her father's voice. The air left Chad's body in a single audible rush. He folded onto the pavement with both hands pressing his stomach, making no sound at all because there was no air left to make sound with. That was seconds 3 through 6. Maya turned to face Mason Holt. Full stop. Complete stillness. Her breathing was controlled. Her hands were at her sides. She didn't move toward him. She didn't say a word. She simply looked at him, the way her father had taught her to look at a situation that was already over. Mason took 4 steps backward. Both hands came up, palms out. He shook his head once, slowly. That was seconds 7 through 9. Second 10. Maya bent down, picked up the grocery bag from the ground, checked the strawberry milk, set it back carefully. Straightened up. Second 11. She looked at Keisha. "You okay, baby?" Keisha stared at her mother for a long moment, wide-eyed, chest still heaving from the scream. Then she nodded once, slow and certain, the way children nod when they are telling the absolute truth. The parking lot was silent. 43 people. Not one of them moved. Not one of them spoke. The only sound was Tyler Brooks on the asphalt, cradling his right arm, saying in a voice that had lost every trace of that easy warmth, "You're going to jail. Do you have any idea who my father is?" Maya pulled out her phone, dialed 911, told the operator her location, described the assault, gave her name clearly and without rushing. Then she put the phone in her pocket, took her daughter's hand, and waited. In her silver Toyota Sienna, Sarah Donahue had not stopped recording. She watched Maya standing calm in the afternoon sun, daughter beside her, eggs broken on the ground, birthday cake ingredients back in the bag, and she made a decision of her own. She typed 4 words as the caption and posted the video at 6:22 that evening. By midnight, 1,400,000 people had watched it. Tyler Brooks was still waiting for his father to answer the phone. The first police unit arrived 6 minutes after Maya's call. The second came 90 seconds behind it. Officer Carl Reynolds stepped out of the lead car, took one look at the scene. 2 men on the ground, one standing with his hands up, one woman in hospital scrubs holding a child's hand, and did what officers are trained to do. He started gathering information. Tyler Brooks gave his account first. He was already standing by then, straightened up, right arm against his chest, his voice restored to something close to its earlier ease. He had not started anything. He had simply asked the woman to move her car. She had attacked him without warning, without provocation, in front of his friends in a parking lot full of witnesses. He gestured at Chad, still sitting on the pavement. He gestured at his arm. He was calm and he was specific, and he spoke with the confidence of a man who had never once stood in front of an authority figure and doubted the outcome. Richard Brooks arrived 14 minutes after the police. Black Mercedes. His personal attorney, James Hargrove, was already on site. Tyler had made that call from the ground before the squad cars arrived. Richard Brooks did not rush across the parking lot. He walked with the measured pace of a man who understood that composure is its own form of power. He spoke briefly with Officer Reynolds. He spoke briefly with Hargrove. He did not look at Maya once. Officer Reynolds approached her. His voice was not unkind. He was working with what he had, and what he had was 2 injured men, 1 composed attorney, 1 prominent father, and 1 woman in scrubs, with no representation and a child beside her. "Ma'am, I need you to put your hands behind your back." Maya looked down at Keisha. The handcuffs closed in front of her daughter with a sound that was not loud, but felt loud, the way certain small sounds do when everything else has gone quiet. Keisha did not scream this time. She made a sound smaller than a scream and worse than one, a soft, bewildered sound. The sound of a child encountering something the world had not yet given her the language for. "Mommy?" Maya held her daughter's eyes. "I'm okay, baby. Mrs. Patterson is coming. You stay with her until I get back." Her voice did not break, not once. She saved that for later, for a holding cell at Mecklenburg County Detention Center, where nobody could see it, where she sat in her hospital scrubs with her back straight against a concrete wall and allowed herself exactly 2 minutes before she stopped. Bond was set at $8,500. Dana Price came running out of the Kroger entrance just as the squad car pulled away. She had been inside buying wine, had heard the commotion, had come out to find her best friend gone, and Keisha standing in the parking lot, holding Mrs. Patterson's hand, with that small, bewildered look still on her face. Dana started recording everything she could still see, started telling anyone who would listen that she knew Maya Carter, that Maya Carter would not have done anything without cause, that something was wrong with what had just happened. She was told politely to calm down. At 6:22 that evening, while Maya was being processed, Sarah Donahue posted her video from the silver Toyota Sienna. The caption read, "They picked the wrong one." By the time Maya made her one permitted phone call at 8:47 p.m., the video had been viewed by 400,000 people. By the time the lights went out in the detention center, that number had crossed 1 million. By 3 a.m., it was 1,400,000 and climbing, and somewhere across the city, Richard Brooks was on the phone with James Hargrove, and the conversation had stopped being about control and started being about damage. Subscribe right now and don't you dare skip ahead, because what that video revealed, and what Richard Brooks spent $40,000 trying to bury, is coming next. And the moment Keisha says 4 words on camera that stopped a reporter cold and broke 11 million hearts, you are not going to forget it. By 6 o'clock, Wednesday morning, Sarah Donahue's video had been watched 2,400,000 times across 4 platforms. It had been shared by accounts with audiences in the millions. It had been clipped, slowed down, analyzed frame by frame, and posted under headlines in languages Maya Carter could not read. 3 other witnesses had come forward overnight with their own footage, different angles, different distances, same 11 seconds. Tyler Brooks' account was not just contradicted by the evidence, it was demolished by it, completely and without remainder, in the way that only happens when the truth has been recorded from multiple directions simultaneously. Attorney Marcus Webb ran a civil rights practice out of an office on Trade Street in uptown Charlotte. He called the detention center at 9:15 Wednesday morning, identified himself, and asked to speak with Maya Carter, pro bono, immediately. He had seen the video at midnight and had not gone back to sleep. District Attorney Margaret Solis reviewed all 4 recordings by 11 a.m. At 1:33 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon, 43 and a half hours after Maya's arrest, the charges were dropped in their entirety. Tyler Brooks and Chad Warren were charged with assault and battery, menacing and disturbing the peace before the week was out. Richard Brooks' attorney contacted Sarah Donahue on Thursday morning. The conversation was brief and carefully worded and offered nothing specific, just a conversation. Sarah Donahue recorded it on her phone and posted it 2 hours later. It reached 800,000 views by nightfall. Piedmont Regional Hospital reinstated Maya Carter with full back pay. Dr. Patricia Wells sent a 3-sentence email welcoming her back. Maya read it once, sitting at her kitchen table on Thursday morning with Keisha's birthday balloons tied to the chair beside her, and deleted it without responding. Thursday was Keisha's birthday. One reporter still had a camera running. The reporter asked Keisha one question, simple and gentle, the way good reporters ask questions to children. "Are you scared?" Keisha thought about it the way 7-year-olds do when they decide a question deserves a real answer. She looked down at her hands. She looked back up. And then she said 4 words that stopped the interview completely, that made the reporter set her microphone down on the table, that made a camera operator in 17 years of field work turn away from his viewfinder for the first time he could remember. Not when Mommy turned around. 11 million people watched that clip in 72 hours. A grown man in Ohio posted a reaction video in which he could not finish a sentence. Keisha never knew. The following Monday, Maya Carter went back to work. Same scrubs, same Camry with 181,000 miles on it. Same double shift. Mrs. Patterson had Keisha. Maya clocked in at 7:55 and did not mention the video or the arrest or the 43 and a half hours or any of it to a single colleague. She was there to work. One thing changed. On the first Saturday of November, Maya drove to the gym on Beatty's Ford Road and knocked on the door. Darius Webb, 61 years old, still running the same gym Marcus Carter had walked into in 1999, answered it. She told him who she was. There was a long silence. "I was wondering when you'd call," he said. She asked if he took 7-year-olds. He said, "Bring her." Marcus Carter had taught his daughter that she had the right to walk through the world without being touched. Maya Carter was making certain her daughter grew up already knowing it. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe, because the next story we have for you is one you will not want to miss. I'll see you there.